Greetings, kindred friend. Let us be still together in this moment. Look down at your hands, then quietly gaze at your face in the mirror under the dim yellow light of the night. Has a long sigh ever suddenly arrived with a heartbreaking question? Where have all those years gone? Do you sometimes feel like a weary traveler, and it seems you have lost the ability to love the person you currently are? The world out there often rushes to conclude that old age is a stage of decline, a time when a person's value gradually fades with the years. But dear friend, Buddhist wisdom gives you a completely different, liberating truth. Engrave this soothing truth into your heart. Old age is not the end of love. It is exactly the beginning of a deeper, purer love. The truth is, even if the body changes, even if social titles recede, your being remains whole and sparkling. Right now, you are inherently absolutely worthy of love. You are already worthy of love. In tonight's journey, we will go together through 6 transformative steps based on ancient wisdom to help you clear away the fragments of inferiority and rebirth the silent pride in your soul. Especially at the end of the video, I will share with you a secret from the art of Kintsugi, a miraculous metaphor helping you turn the cracks of time into brilliant golden seams on the ceramics of your soul. Let your mind rest, because the most radiant journey returning to yourself, in fact, has only just begun. The first truth, impermanence, is the guiding teacher. Try observing with me the silent rhythm of heaven and earth outside the window right now. In the profound wisdom of the Buddha, there is a core truth called impermanence, anicca. He taught that nothing stands still forever, from the distant stars to every tiny beat of our hearts. True pain does not come from the fact that we age, but from the mind's fierce resistance against that law of change. We have consumed too much energy worrying about every new wrinkle, or making hopeless efforts to keep the brilliant silhouette of yesterday. When you choose to fight with nature, your nervous system is always in a combat-ready state, and your heart gradually becomes dry and hard from exhaustion. However, dear friend, what if you looked at impermanence not as a thief, but as a wise teacher? It is precisely because the flower will fade that its fragrance right now is so precious. It is precisely because the mist will dissipate that the sunlight is so radiantly beautiful. Understand this truth. Impermanence teaches us to cherish. Impermanence teaches us to cherish. Instead of viewing old age as a loss, look at it as a natural and dignified progression. True healing and self-esteem only bloom when you stop bracing yourself to control time. Engrave this peaceful command. Loving yourself begins the very moment you allow impermanence to soften your heart. Only when your hands no longer clutch the past are you truly free to embrace the beauty of the present. The second truth, shedding the illusion in the mirror. Try to quiet your heart and ask yourself, how long has it been since you truly looked deep into your eyes, instead of just being absorbed in observing the changes on the surface of your skin? In the twilight years, the mirror sometimes becomes a harsh judge, reminding us of what has been lost. We unintentionally believe that the aging face is me, and sadness rushes in when me is no longer as radiant as before. In Buddhist wisdom, this physical body is just a branch changing leaves, not the root of the soul. He taught about non-self anatta, that the body is a temporary container, always shifting and without a fixed entity called I. When you cling too much to external appearance, you are building happiness on quicksand. Tonight, I invite you to reconsider your wrinkles with completely new eyes. Wrinkles are not traces of fading. They are sacred calligraphy strokes, recording the manuscript of a life lived very deeply. Wrinkles are calligraphy of a life lived. Every line is a chapter, a time you bravely went through a storm, a time you laughed to tears with your grandchildren, or a time you suppressed pain to be tolerant of others. Perform a powerful shift in consciousness. Instead of asking the mirror, "How do I look?" silently ask your heart, "How deeply have I lived?" When you realize you are not the changing form, but the soul shining behind that form, inferiority will automatically disintegrate. You no longer owe the world a perfect appearance. You only owe yourself a peaceful soul. Sleep in the sovereignty of one who has realized that true beauty does not lie in what the mirror can see, but lies in the depth of compassion you are carrying. The third truth, compassion for the past journey. Dear friend, imagine you are turning the pages of a thick diary named My Life. There are chapters brilliant with golden sunlight, but also no shortage of pages soaked with the tears of mistakes and breakages. A painful habit that many people in their twilight years often fall into is turning themselves into a strict judge. We punish ourselves with words of self-blame. If only I had been wiser then. Why did I hurt the one I love? In the wisdom of the Buddha, compassion, karuna, is only truly complete when it encompasses even the person closest to you. That is yourself. For how many years have you dedicated kindness to children, to friends, to the world, but let your own heart wither because of your own bitterness? Tonight, I invite you to perform a sacred reconciliation ritual right on this warm bed. Gently place a hand on your heart. Feel the warmth from your palm slipping through the shirt, touching the persistent beat still faithfully nourishing you for decades. Closing your eyes, bring your mind back to the clumsy and hurt younger version of yourself from the old days. Instead of judging, look at that person with the eyes of a soulmate. Whisper to your soul this affirmation: I have truly lived. I have resiliently gone through it all. I have lived. I have endured. True healing is not erasing the past, but the act of withdrawing the venom of self-blame out of the memory. You did your best with what you knew at that time. When you bravely forgive yourself, you are releasing the blocked energy source, so love can once again circulate. Sleep in absolute tolerance, because you are not the mistakes of yesterday. You are the flower of wisdom that has bloomed fully from the mud of experience. The fourth truth, right speech with yourself, the power of gentleness. Dear friend, honestly observe, how many times have you spoken to yourself in a tone you would never use to speak to a close friend? We often unintentionally utter bitter words inside our minds. Why am I so clumsy? I'm old, so useless, or it's too late to change. Each of those words is like a drop of toxin dripping into the spiritual lake that inherently needs to be still. In Buddhist wisdom, right speech is usually understood as truthful and loving speech toward others. But today, I want you to apply right speech right inside yourself. Modern neuroscience has proven that the words we use have the ability to reprogram brain circuits. When you use harsh words with yourself, the nervous system will immediately fall into a state of stress and self-defense. Tonight, perform a sacred shift. Instead of sowing seeds of criticism, water your soul with words of loving speech. Choose to replace negative affirmations with tolerant recognition. Instead of saying, I am too old, say, I am ripening in wisdom. Instead of saying, I made a mistake, say, I learned a precious lesson. Engrave this truth into your mind. Speak gently to yourself, and your heart will respond. Speak gently, and your heart will respond. I invite you to start a small ritual for every early morning. As soon as you wake up before the mind has time to rush into worries, smile at yourself in the mirror and silently say, Hello, friend. Today, I will protect and love you. When you change the way you converse with yourself, the entire world around you will also begin to radiate a warmer frequency. Sleep in the rhythm of that gentleness, because you deserve to be the first to receive kindness from yourself. The fifth truth, turning loneliness into serene solitude. Listen to the sound of your house right this moment, an encompassing silence. There are evenings you sit looking at the empty chairs around the dining table, remembering the time when children were chirping or the lively gatherings of friends. You feel a void growing in your heart, and your mind begins to whisper about abandonment. The world calls that loneliness, a feeling of lack needing to be filled by the noise of the TV or hurried calls. However, in the wisdom of the Buddha, being alone is never a sentence. He left the bustle of the palace to seek out the silent, deep forest. He did not seek loneliness. He sought solitude. Understand this liberating boundary. Loneliness is the fear when having no one beside, while solitude is the joy of being fully present with oneself. Old age gives you a sacred privilege, the right to no longer need to please anyone. Tonight, I invite you to perform an act of ultimate autonomy. Instead of trying to chase away the silence, try smiling and receiving it like a soulmate you haven't met in a long time. Take a deep breath. Feel the air entering your chest and whisper, "Right now, I am at home. Right now, I am enough." When you no longer look out the window to long for a silhouette, you will begin to see the radiant beauty of your inner self. You do not need anyone to validate your worth. Do not need anyone to fill the time. Practice dating your own soul through slow footsteps or serene breaths. Engrave this soothing truth. Solitude is exactly when you start building an eternal friendship with yourself. Solitude becomes friendship with yourself. When you truly feel comfortable in your own stillness, the world no longer has the power to hurt you with heartlessness or oblivion. Sleep in the sovereignty of a steady self-island, where the light of peace always radiates without borrowing from anyone. The sixth truth, interbeing. When the ego merges into all, try feeling the breath entering your nostrils right now. Where did that cool air come from? It was originally a sacred gift from distant forests, the breath of lush green canopies that silently bestowed oxygen upon you throughout a long day. And when you exhale, the warmth from your chest again becomes a source of life for nature. In the wisdom of the Buddha, nothing exists independently. He called that interbeing, meaning all things rely on each other to manifest. You are not a solitary island. You are a golden thread on the giant tapestry of the universe. The nutrients nourishing your body tonight came from the compassionate Mother Earth, from the brilliant sunlight, and also the hardship of the hands of farmers, tens of thousands of miles away from you. When stepping into the twilight years, we often fear because we see ourselves as small and useless. But the truth is, you are connecting with all things more deeply than ever. Tonight, I invite you to perform an exercise of loving kindness. Bring attention to the heart chakra, feel the warmth spreading, and silently send a wish. May all sentient beings be at peace. May all those who are lonely like me find comfort. The very moment you expand love beyond the limits of yourself, the small, anxious ego will disappear. Replacing it is an unprecedented sense of vastness and expansiveness. Engrave this sacred truth into your mind. You are not just a tiny drop of water. You are exactly the great ocean in the form of a drop of water. You are the universe expressing itself. When you understand this interbeing, you will realize that you are being embraced by the whole universe in every heartbeat. You no longer owe the world any achievement. You are simply present to witness the beauty of eternal connection. Sleep in the fulfillment of a soul that is merged as one with the vast heaven and earth. The secret from the art of Kintsugi. When the crack blooms. I want to invite you to imagine a quiet little pottery studio in Japan. There, an old artisan is cherishing a porcelain bowl that has just been shattered into pieces. By normal habit, we would throw away those broken pieces, assuming they have lost their value. But this artisan does not. He quietly collects every broken piece, then uses a special lacquer mixed with pure solid gold to bind them back together. The result is not a bowl mended to look like new. On the contrary, the old cracks now appear brilliantly as sparkling golden seams. The bowl no longer has its original smooth perfection, but it becomes unique, resilient, and manifold, more precious than before it broke. People call it the art of Kintsugi, the philosophy of finding beauty in brokenness. Dear friend, your soul in its twilight years is exactly a great Kintsugi masterpiece. Look back at your life with ultimate tolerance. What are your cracks? They could be an illness causing your body to ache, the pain of losing a soulmate partner, regret over an unfulfilled dream, or the feeling of shattering when seeing you are no longer at the peak of your strength. We often try to hide these cracks for fear of the world's judgment, fear of becoming a discarded product. But Buddhist wisdom and the art of Kintsugi whisper to you that the very events that hurt you are exactly the material to create the most radiant wisdom. Pain does not make you inferior. It only makes your heart softer and richer in compassion. Without the times of shattering, how could the solid gold of awakening weave in to bind your life into a unified whole full of dignity? Engrave this sacred truth into your mind. Your cracks are not flaws. They are exactly where the light shines most radiantly. Your cracks are where your light shines. Tonight, when you lie still in the dark, perform an act of honoring yourself. Review the pains, illnesses, or losses you are bearing. Instead of looking at them with eyes of disgust, imagine you are pouring into them the solid gold stream of acceptance and gratitude. Whisper to every scar in your soul, "This too is exactly a part of the solid gold of my life. This too is part of my gold." When you dare to love even your own broken parts, you no longer fear old age or decline. You realize that you do not need to be perfect to be brilliant. Your brilliance right now comes from the courage of having gone through storms while still preserving a kind heart. Sleep in the silent pride of a golden Kintsugi bowl. The more scratched, the more shining, the older, the more priceless. The night is deep. Let the light from those cracks guide you into a slumber of absolute peace. The journey of light, when solid gold flows. Now, I invite you to relax your entire body on the soft bed. Let your eyelids close very gently, the way a petal closes at sunset. Take a very deep breath, bringing pure air into your chest, and exhale very slowly, so all remnants of tension melt into the eternal darkness. In your mind, imagine a brilliant and warm flow of solid golden light, slowly spreading from the top of your head down to your heels. This solid gold stream of awakening and tolerance is finding every crack inside you. It weaves into the aching joints, into the wrinkles at the corners of your eyes, and penetrates deep even into the old scars in the heart that is already tired from regret. Feel that sacred warmth mending, honoring, and turning all your hurts into sparkling golden seams. You no longer see yourself as torn apart. You see yourself as a unique masterpiece of the universe. The cracks no longer hurt you. They are shining to guide your soul into the land of absolute peace. Let that golden light envelop you, warming you throughout the long night ahead. Greetings, kindred friend. Our journey of consciousness tonight has passed through the rapids of truth, from smiling before impermanence, shedding the illusion in the mirror, watering compassion for the old journey, practicing loving speech with yourself, finding joy in solitude, to the moment of realizing you are a part of the eternal ocean. Understand this final truth. Loving yourself in the twilight years is not the journey to become perfect. It is the journey of learning how to honor imperfection with mindfulness. Tonight, you no longer owe the world an explanation, nor do you owe yourself any punishment. You are enough, you are whole, and you are priceless in your very cracks. If this video has brought a little warmth to your soul, please help me spread this good energy with a like button and subscribe to the channel. That is how we together light the candles of awakening amidst the long night. Before closing your eyes, I invite you to leave a comment. I cherish my journey as a sacred confirmation for your radiant being. Wishing you a long night of peace, complete letting go, and waking up in the magnificent light of a second spring. Goodbye, and see you again in the next journeys of awakening.